This is my Yamaha Blaster 200. It's an air-cooled 200cc with a 6-speed manual transmission, and it's one of the most iconic quads in the industry. It's not known for being one of the fastest machines, but more for the undeniable amount of fun that you can have on these things. The Blaster was extremely successful, and Yamaha produced it for almost 20 years. It was introduced in 1988 with an affordable price tag under $2,000 at $1,949. Even at the end of its run in 2006, the price tag was still just $32.99. For a name brand ATV that has pretty decent performance, that was a great price. If you were into riding in the early 2000s to around 2010, the used price on these things were crazy cheap. It wasn't uncommon to find Yamaha Blasters for $200 to $300, and even though the ATV market has spiked, you can still find these for a reasonable price. I picked up mine for $1,000. The previous owner didn't know much about the quad, but he did say that he had it running the last time it was out. However, it wasn't running very well, and after looking it over, I sensed some Chinese parts that his no-name mechanic put on there. Getting this thing running is the least of our worries because we have a full restoration to do on this thing, and the catch is that we'll be getting it ready for a competition series where we'll be putting it up against other mid-size ATVs, and the competition is in just 90 days. 3 months is a lot of time, but not for a full restoration, especially when you have parts that you need to order. Not to mention the slew of problems that could come from any used ATV that comes from Marketplace, especially one that's in non-running condition that's been sitting outside for quite some time. So will 90 days be enough to get this thing completely restored and dialed in for race day, or will this be a total flop and we'll be showing up with absolutely nothing? I guess we'll just have to see. Let's take a look at this Yamaha Blaster. Well guys, I finally did it. I've reached the epitome of quad ownership. The OG Yamaha Blaster. I don't know if you guys can tell how small this thing is. It's like a kid's quad, it really is. I mean, just getting on this, oh, are you serious, dude? You gotta see this. That's jank, dude. We're missing foot peg bolts. It's not very safe. It's always fun when you get home and you notice all of the little things that you didn't see when you were looking it over. And I didn't really look this one over that closely. I mean, I didn't even sit on it, obviously. But yeah, I'm sure this thing is full of surprises. I also just noticed this, man. This has a custom, it's got a twist throttle. It's actually a really awesome modification. It's a dual throttle system. So you've got the thumb throttle on one side and a twist throttle on the other side. If you use them together, I think that actually gives it more power. Got the FMF Power Core 2. That's a really nice addition. I was planning on getting one of these anyways. Seat cover has seen better days, and you know, you can tell this is mint condition just by looking at the foam. That's an indicator this has been sitting outside and been getting wet and stuff. Now I'm fixing to pull the spark plug to see if we have any spark, and if we do, I think this thing's gonna fire up. Now most of you know that I'm going to be doing a top quad series with mid-size quads. This is going to be one of the competitors. So we're gonna have a Kawasaki Lakota, a Yamaha Blaster, a Polaris Trailblazer 250, and a Honda 300 EX. All right, well, I'm down here to pull the spark plug boot off and check for spark, and I already noticed something that could cause, or could have been causing this thing not to wanna start. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but the tip of the spark plug is basically unthreaded, almost falling off. That could definitely make it so that you're not getting good sparks. So let me pull that thing out. Let's see what the plug looks like. Dude, what the f? Look at that, man. The electrode is just smashed right up on there. There's no gap at all. I've never seen that before. If you look at a good plug, you can see it's like the porcelain fell down or something on this. That's very weird. But this thing would never start like that. Let's throw a new plug in. Oh, let's see if this one gets spark. And we'll put the plug in there if we're getting spark. I bet you this thing runs fine. Well, something else I discovered is that there's no key on this thing. It was bypassed. Interesting. Oh, we got spark. I also noticed the plug that I pulled out. It was like a Chinese spark plug with no markings on it. It just literally says spark plug. All right, now we've got compression and we've got spark. And look, this thing's got gas in it. Actually, doesn't smell bad. All right, is the ignition on? Doesn't matter, no key. got good compression. Let's give it a little bit of starting fluid. Just a shot, just a shot. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah! Whoa! It runs, dude. I think it's not getting fuel. We could clean that Chinese carburetor and then we could probably ride this thing. Let's see what our gas looks like here. We'll put it on reserve. Ugh. Maybe that gas, that's, it looks like some green sludgy poop. Oh, I see. Is that water in there, I see? Ooh, we're gonna take a close look at this. That is definitely water. Wow. I'm glad it flows, though. That's what she said. And then this won't go to waste. Once I'm done draining this out, I'll put this in my neighbor's car. All right, let's get this carb out of here so we can clean it. Oh, yeah, I see the green carburetor sludge. That stuff is dangerous, man. I've had carburetors get stuck open because of that. I mean, it looks new. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Here's the carburetor. It is definitely an aftermarket. Oh, and here's that spark plug that I was talking about. You can see there's no markings or anything on it. It says just spark plug. But I did some research, and this is actually a performance plug. It has an adjustable gap from outside. When you spin this, it's actually adjustable. So this is actually a really rare item, and they're really expensive. It's definitely still good. So I think I'll put this for sale rather than just throwing it out. I was thinking like $899. I got put that for sale on eBay in my eBay store. All right, let's crack into this thing. Man, is it stuck? Oh no! Damn it! The gasket is ruined forever. Actually, it looks pretty clean. Let's see if this thing will take. Damn it! The whole tube came out. I want to see if this will take. Oh, it's got an OEM jet. It looks like either that or it's one of the fake markings because that is actually very common. A 100. Oh my gosh. If that's a true size, I think that's incredibly small. A 100 main jet, that we have to change that. All right, now we've got some good and bad news. I'll start with the good news, so that way nobody gets too sad. The gasket we had was ruined, but the good news is our new carburetor has the same style gasket, only it's rubber instead of paper. That other one shredded because it was paper. So we'll be good on the gasket surface. The bad news is, though, that this jet is not a genuine jet, and the threads are different. And now here's a 260 genuine jet. This is what I'd like to run in there. I think that should be about right. And you can see it doesn't want to thread in there. So this is the 260. That's what really should be in there. And this is what came out. Let's see if we can get some light behind there. It is tremendously too small, the jet that came out. That would have, if it was running, it wouldn't have with that bad gas, but if it was running, this would be super lean, and that would definitely cause the engine to fail. Now this is about to get real jank real quick. We're actually going to open this up because at least the aftermarket jet is smaller. The threads are a little bit smaller. So we're gonna be able to, I'm gonna open it up, and I've got the tap for the OEM style. And I think we'll be able to make it work. All right, here we go. About to commence jank. Now we'll run a tap in. That should be it. See, that's all it takes. It's just a little ingenuity, and we've created a carburetor that can accept OEM style jets. Nope, jets don't fit. We need a special tap for that, and we don't have it. But the good news is I've got this OEM carburetor, and this is gonna work just fine. So I've got this fixed up with a genuine 260 main jet and a 32.5, which is the stock size for the Pilot. But I'm also gonna swap out this filter. This looks pretty dirty. It's easy enough to do. Got the new filter here anyways. Wow, for once, something was actually fixed with ease. Nice. Oh, dude. You got the oil mod going on. Look at that, man. I don't know how the hell you'd be getting this off without a pair of pliers. What worries me about that is that that might mean the oil hasn't been changed in this thing in a long time. I don't know though. Just make sure there's oil in there. No, I definitely see oil on the gear. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in here for safe measure. Remember, this is gonna be a complete teardown. I'm really not too worried about it. And one final thing I'm doing. Oh, this cable is adjusted all the way out. Well, let's see, it should still work. Oh my gosh. Check this out, man. I was seeing down here if there's an adjustment for this clutch cable, and look at this. This base bolt for the cylinder is finger loose. Makes me wonder. It feels like the other ones are tight, but man, I think I'm gonna at least go around and tighten down the base nuts on this cylinder before we go ripping around the yard. All right, well, I would say that we're basically 100% restored now. It's actually a pretty tight machine once you tighten up the foot pegs. Let's see if it starts up without any starting fluid. I can't believe it hasn't died yet. Now, I think we might have put just a little bit too much two-stroke oil in this thing. So we're gonna do a very scientific process. This is called a re-ratio. I need you guys to just stop talking for a minute. I need to concentrate. This is very precise. We're going to make the ratio thinner, therefore causing less smoke. With that exact amount, we should be at exactly 30-to-1 ratio oil to gas. Oh no, what's going on? Why is it cutting out like that? That sounds like it could be an electrical thing, the way it just cuts off. I'll be honest, I'm not too confident in all the connections and everything on this thing. So it very well could be something like that. Oh, what is going on? I see some leakage. All right. I'm not taking chances. Let's go for it. Oh, no. I don't want to go too far with this thing. It's actually got some power. It's not. Let's let it warm up. Maybe it'll clear out a little bit. You know, it's really not that bad. I think I hear some clutch slipping going on. And this could be a major mistake. This has braking parts all over it, but you know what, man? YOLO! My shoelace got wrapped around the shifter. Dude, this thing is really fast. All right, man, hell yeah. I can't believe how well that ran.
Here at the Certified Ass Dyno Lab, we use nothing but the finest technology and the best certified ass dyno technicians. When you're looking for quality, reliability, and downright sheer accuracy, Ass Dyno Technicians is where you come.
Hey Todd, pass me the 3/8" ratchet, will you?
Oh man, shit. So that's why we put one of our finest Ass Dyno technicians on the Yamaha Blaster case. Let's have a look.
All right, guys, here we are with our certified ass dyno chart. My certified ass has never ridden quite such a stunning machine out of the box. We're gonna start down here at about idle, around 2,000 RPMs, and realistically, guys, this thing makes pretty decent power. Right off of the bat, it has more torque than you would expect, and then it has that hard-hitting two-stroke power, and I honestly think this makes a little bit more than 20 horsepower. The way that it sits, probably right around 10,000 RPMs, and then it drops off into absolutely nothing. That FMF pipe has no over rev whatsoever, but a pretty decent power curve for a small two-stroke.
And that is your certified ass dyno.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I was not expecting this to run that well. It almost seems like it would be a sin to tear this thing down. I mean, it was so much fun to ride. I wanna ride it like right now. Again, that was a ton of fun to ride. So I think what I'm gonna do is just physically clean this thing.
Well guys, we've actually got a pretty solid unit to start with. Usually there's broken pieces all over the place, and the fact that this thing actually runs and rides, it's pretty incredible. Now we're about to entirely tear this machine down, and that's where we'll really find out what this thing needs. Ordering parts is one of the most painstaking parts of any build because it requires waiting. This is when I usually like to design the color scheme of the machine and also design the graphics. What you're seeing now is a time lapse, but this generally takes between 10 and 20 hours. It's a pretty long and tedious process, but honestly, I enjoy doing this. If you guys want to see a more in-depth explanation of how I do this, make sure you check out the full series videos of this Blaster series where I go into more detail. I decided to call this Blaster the original crispy chicken sandwich because all of the machines in this competition series that it will be in were themed after food. Here's a closer look of the design. Okay guys, there it is. It's the original crispy chicken sandwich, and I didn't want the quad to have like chicken incorporated in the graphics. I thought that would be a little bit too corny, but I do think having a catchy name like that, it makes it more memorable, and I decided to stick with it. Got my logo on there. We've got some digital camo that I generated, the original kind of like two-stroke little decal there. And so I put the website on the side. I've got the sponsors up here. It kind of lost a little bit of clarity when I was morphing it to make it, you know, show on the graph or on the actual quad. Changed the colors to gunmetal wheels, the gold frame, and we'll have those black plastics. Keep the white ones in the back, and the gold frame. I think it's going to look really, really clean. And then if we take a look at just the graphics alone, you can get a little bit more clear of an image. We've got all of our sponsors and stuff back here. I put Blaster kind of like 3D on the back fender outside, and kind of like just switched up the camo inside the lettering and then behind the lettering. Just to, I thought that just looked kind of like cool and stealth. Has nothing to do with extra crispy chicken, but you know, what the hell. Okay, so we've got our concept of what we want this Blaster to look like, but now it's time to make it actually happen. If you've ever done a project like this, parts can stack up quickly, and I've already got over $1,000 of parts in the mail. But we'll get to those new parts a little bit later, but it's important to find out everything this thing needs now so that we can get the rest of the parts on order as well. We need to tear this quad down to the frame so we can see what's going on underneath and inside the engine.
Now, my main goal for today is going to be to get this engine out of here. So let's start off by draining the oil.
Ooh, man, that is not looking pretty. I wonder what that is. It can't be coolant. If it's coolant, we've got issues, but this is an air-cooled engine.
Now while that oil's draining, check this out. I've gone ahead and I've straightened up the garage. We've got all empty boxes here. These are going to be probably for the frame pieces, not the actual engine. Today we're just gonna take the engine out. And then I've just straightened up all of my other stuff over here, just kind of, you know, clean stuff up. I've got empty, I guess you could call them like little totes, my little Rockstar bins. These are really nice for bolts. I'm going to be divvying up. I'll have one with engine bolts, one with body bolts, and we've got a third one just in case, maybe for electronics or something. And then of course I've got my notepad here. This is so that when I find stuff that needs to be replaced, I can write it down and I won't forget. And then when it comes time to putting things together, we won't be going, oh shit, like gotta wait another, you know, 4 or 5 days for this part to come in to continue. All right, first things first, let's boost this thing up on our Tusk stand. Right about there should be good. Now getting this engine out looks like it's gonna be fairly easy. I think if I just take these front fenders off, I don't even think I have to take the hood or anything off. The carburetor and the exhaust should be pretty easy. We don't have to worry about coolant or anything, because again, this is an air-cooled. And should be no fuss, no muss. Oh, we gotta take the chain off too. It's the original hardware right there, definitely. Right. The FMF Fatty, man. What a great name for a pipe. Because in all honesty, who doesn't love a fatty? Now for the fun part. Really, I just forgot. I really should have done this first. The swing arm bolt, this can be a nightmare if these things are seized. I think this is the first blaster that I've ever done. So I don't know if it's notorious like the 400EX. You know, if you guys have ever done one on there, those things, they never want to come out. So hopefully this one's not as bad. Usually the nut will at least come off. All right, a good sign. I saw the frame flex. All the tension and stuff came out. Hopefully this thing just taps right through. All right, here we go. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Oh! Look at that. It is just such a good day today. All right, let's get our carburetor out of here that we just put on. This is from the OG Banshee. All right, let's get this lower engine mount off. This bolt is a 9/16, so that's a sign that this is not original. Man, was that tight. That's what she said. Man, the whole engine lurched forward when I loosened that. Man, was that tight. Man, was that tight. Because the bolt, I think, is too small for the hole, so the whole thing wiggles around in there. That's no good though. We definitely want to replace that with OEM. Oh, and we've got this jumble of wires here for the stator. Looks like everything's just taped up, but with regular connectors. So, I mean, I don't know if that's really a bad thing. All right, last thing we got to do is smack this swing arm bolt through, and we should be home free. I think that's far enough through. Whoa! Well, the swing arm bolt is officially out now. It's slippery. Gotcha. I gotcha, bitch. Tell you what, man, it just wouldn't be right if we didn't find some kind of interesting creativity on these engines when we tear them down. And this one's no exception. Check this out. We've got some custom head studdage. Not only did they just go ahead and thread a bolt in there, but it's a Phillips head. Like, at least use a hex or something so you can get a good grip on there. And imagine if this thing's stripped out. You'd have to like break these fins off. You'd have a hell of a time getting that one off. But luckily, it looks like it's in good shape. So hopefully that comes out. Looks like shift shaft may be bent down. Yeah, I think it is actually functional, but it's bent. Looks like got some case sealant back here. Let's just go ahead and tear into this thing, man. I want to see what's inside. At least they used the right thread size. It's always good when you have mix matched bolt sizes too, or nut sizes. Ooh, it didn't even snap, it just came right off. Okay, so this is interesting. I thought for a split second we had an ultra high performance piston here. You can see this, the cutaway in the front of this piston lip, the edge. And that's actually something that in the two-stroke world, people will do. They'll even modify the pistons that way. They don't come that way to match up with the exhaust port to make it so you can actually make the exhaust port even lower. But the weird thing is, this actually goes, I think we're not quite at bottom dead center, but it goes lower than that exhaust port. So I don't really know that that's necessary. So at first glance, I thought that we had, you know, some ultra high performance piston, but check this out, man. I found the kit here on eBay, $66.29. So, I mean, I don't know how much hope I have for this. Can I open this up? Yeah, look at that piston, man. You can see the cutaway on the one side. That's the exact same piston, I'm almost certain, that's in there. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the exact cylinder kit. And you know, what's scary about this is it says Wiseco piston gasket top end kit. You know that's not a Wiseco piston, man. That's like total false advertisement. 66 bucks for a whole kit with a cylinder and everything. There's just absolutely no way. And then look where it comes from, dude. Chino, California. They might as well just say China, California. Come on, man. Hey, but dude, they ran pretty good, man. You know, it's crazy the things that these companies put in their ads. You know, it's one thing to offer an economy product, that's fine, but when they put like Wiseco and name brands and stuff on there and like just completely lying, where that becomes an issue is like, you know, even when I was younger, I might have bought that and been like, damn, dude, I just got a Wiseco piston and cylinder and everything for 66 bucks shipped. And then you do work for somebody and you sell it as a Wiseco piston and you don't even know. So, I mean, that could have even happened with this thing. Who knows? All right, let's pop our cylinder off here. Oh, man. All right, let's get our piston out of here. These Chinese clips are always so easy to get out because they're so soft. They're so weak. Look at that. Unbelievable. I mean, it's kind of nice, honestly. Now, the crank feels good, so we're probably going to reuse that for this first go-around of the stock build. So put some wood in there so we can tap sideways, get that pin out. And there's our Wiseco piston. That's Wiseco, baby. 100%. Show you guys what it looks like inside this cylinder. Doesn't look too bad. The cylinder looks like it's in pretty good condition. I do see some cross hatching, so I really do think this was a fairly new kit. I think somebody had just put this on. There, I did notice there's oil all over the face of this, so I think we were leaking from the head gasket. This should probably be surfaced if it was to be reused. But honestly, not terrible. All right, let's get moving with our stator side here. This shifter is getting shit canned because it's bent and we're missing the rubber bumper. These clutch holders and flywheel holders are great for holding sprockets in situations like this. Now this cover appears to have all the original hardware. This is one thing with Yamaha that I don't like to reuse the original hardware, is with these Phillips head screws that they use on the engine, because you can see how the heads get jimmied up. Yeah, I'm going to replace all these, probably with regular hex head, or if we get like a bolt kit, we'll do all stainless steel. Whew. Look at that thing. Got some water in there. All right, not bad, not bad. Every little thing I'm doing here, I'm like sort of holding my breath because I don't know if something's gonna be seized, or especially when you see rust. And then we got our flywheel puller here. This is the same as a Banshee flywheel puller. And we go in the reverse direction. Woo, that was not good. Whew.
That thing was slinging. Not good. I didn't have good enough grip on this thing. There's our flywheel. This is actually in good shape. It's just really dirty and rusty. And there's our stator. See our flywheel key in there. That's crusted in there pretty good. We'll have to tap that out. It looks like it's held on by only 2 screws. One on bottom and one on top. Man, that is crusty in there. Hopefully these come out. Uh-oh. That's not good. These are super tight. And we got it. See, this bottom one is jimmied up a little bit, so. Oh, man, that's really tight. I'm pushing like super hard on this because I don't want it to slip. Oh, we got it. Tight tolerances, man. This probably just needs to be cleaned up. All right, let's spin this around. Get the clutch cover off. Man, we've got nothing but Phillips heads and a couple replacement bolts. This is more like it. I wish that they were all like that, but you can see some of them are already jimmied up. So, wish me luck here. Hopefully, we don't have any issues here. Okay, I think we got lucky, and all the bolts are out. Now, this might be a little bit of a challenge because there is oozing RTV, multiple colors, coming out from around these cases, so it may be stuck on there. Oh, I guess not. It literally was not stuck at all. Not bad at all. Oh man, whew, did they cake this on? I've never seen quite as much RTV as this before. My gosh, there's like channels from where the case has squeezed it out. That is crazy. At least everything appears to look good. I don't see any broken teeth on any of the gears or anything. This was kind of interesting. Right here. Got some custom boltage. That seems to be the theme of this machine. Now I did feel some slippage with this clutch, but it appears to be okay. Oh man. That is not good. Look how short that is. Come on, man. The dude that put these bolts and stuff in here, risky. That was really risky because that could easily strip these out. This is a very fragile area. What the heck? Oh my God. Wow, that's broken. Wow. I was not expecting that. Are these all broken? They're all, I don't know if you can see them. They're bent. See that spinning around like that? Wobbling? Interesting. I wonder if that was caused from like uneven pressure or something. Whoa! That is so close to breaking. Can you guys see that? I can't take this washer off. The metal is cracked and it's very, very close to snapping. That's amazing. Whoa, man. It is a good thing we didn't take this thing to the trails. That's pretty bad. I'm trying to be really gentle with this. Oh, man. This is going to be amazing if this isn't broken. I think we're okay. That's amazing. That's really surprising. I thought for sure that broke. This clutch pack was definitely not healthy. Wow. Pressure plate looks okay. Honestly, this pack looks pretty good. This looks like the original inner hub. I don't see any marks or anything like this has been knocked off before. The bolt looks completely untouched. Now, if this is the original inner hub and that lock washer has never been taken off, that means the clutch has never been removed, which means the crank is original And all of the center case stuff is original too, which could be a good or a bad thing. I've never heard an inner hub that rattles. There's piece of bolt in there. All right, so we're at a standstill here. I can't remove this shift shaft because it is bent. I tried tapping it through and it gets seized pretty tight. I could attempt to bend this and straighten it and make it go through, but one of those shafts is so cheap to replace, it's not worth trying to save it to push it back through. It's just not worth it. I might wind up, you know, cracking the case or something like that. What I decided I'm gonna do is just chop this off, and then we should be able to push it right through, and then I'll be able to replace it, not have to worry about it. And I also noticed this. Check this out. This crank seal is wasted. You can actually see through. It's, oh man, it's wasted, dude. Man, I don't think I've ever seen a crank seal that bad in a machine that ran as good as this did. If you guys remember, it was kind of like coughing and burping. Might have had something to do with that. So that's definitely got to be replaced. All right, let's see if we can do this without breaking anything. Unlikely. Wow, look at that. That is brand spanking new. Ooh, and the case just split too, I think. Yep, it did. This is gonna be an easy one. All right, let's see what happens here. See if this thing just pulls apart. This thing hasn't been opened for 19 years. Looks like it's just gonna pull apart. Let's see it splitting. Just gotta go easy. Make sure we didn't miss anything. So tiny. That's what she said. Wow, look at that. It is all original in here. It may seem silly to you guys, but I think this is so cool. It's very rare that you open up an engine this old that hasn't been cracked into, especially a two-stroke. I just think that's so cool. And check out the hardware. There's no way in hell that this thing was ever opened before. I've never seen any hardware clean like that. And look at the crank. So if you see the crank's got soot and stuff on there, now that could just be from normal fuel going in there, but I have a feeling that this is all from that crank seal on this side that was messed up. That's probably transmission oil that was getting in there and kind of just making it run dirty. I don't know, but you can see everything is super clean here in the transmission. So let's go ahead and pull that apart. I wonder if this crank will come out, or we might have to use the crank puller on it. There it is. All right, guys, we've come across the inevitable. We've got some carnage here. So the clutch arm is in here, and I went to pull that out. I noticed it's just, it's a little bit tight in there. And if you come around to this side, the clutch arm goes down here. If I move that, I don't know if you guys see, there's like a an aluminum shard in there. So then I came around this side, and you can see we've got some, there's definitely some carnage there. That is, looks like a chain breakage or something. And unfortunately, it blasted through that. That's probably why there's all this oil and stuff on the bottom. That's probably from oil leaking out of there. It's not a big deal. We should be able to pull that out. I'm going to have these vapor blasted, cleaned up, and then we'll have to repair them. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I don't know if there's a trick to getting the clutch arm out on a Blaster. There it is. Like a Banshee, it just pulls right out of the top. I'm wondering if, because of the portion of the case that's kind of forced in, if that's holding it in place. Not sure. Let's clean this off, this area right here, and see what we're working with. This is like a stone or something. Whatever this is, I think it's wedged in, and it's making it so that the clutch arm will not come out. You can see the clutch arm right here, and it gets wider up here, but there's a lump in the case, and it's hitting that. That lump is being caused from this over here. It was pushed in. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to address that. I'm going to attempt to knock that portion of the case back out. Unfortunately, this is too tight to be able to show you guys. It shouldn't take much. Oh, there we go. We got it. All right, we're home free. It's not that bad. You can see there's a hole. That rock that was there popped out. And if you come around this side, it's really difficult to see with this camera. You can see the hole there. But I should be able to fill that with weld, clean it up on the outside, and then I can go in here with a burr, and I'll be able to make it nice and smooth so that there's no like issues installing the clutch arm and getting it back out. The clutch arm appears to be in good shape.
So I think we made out pretty well. With the exception of the little bit of case damage and the clutch assembly, most of our internal components are in really good shape. The transmission looks really good. Don't see any excess wear on the gears, the dogs, anything. So I'm pretty happy with this. These parts are definitely due for a good washing in the parts washer, and then I'll be sending out the cases to get them vapor blasted by Moto Blast.
Okay, so we have the engine situation figured out pretty good. I ran everything through the parts washer, pulled all the old bearings out of the cases.
Yeah! Gotcha, bitch! Woo! Look at that bastard. Smoking!
And I also removed any studs or dowels that were left in there. I'll be sending these off to get them vapor blasted. We'll get the damaged portion of the case welded up, and then we should be ready for engine assembly. The next thing we have to do is tear down the roller, but before I do that, I'm planning on using half of these original plastics, and I'd like to restore them. The headlight has also seen better days, and I want to restore that as well instead of replacing it. I'm doing this now because it's going to be a lot easier sanding and buffing the plastics while they're still bolted to the frame and not bouncing around on the workbench.
First, let me show you how I cleaned up the mildew stuff, but I had this stuff called chloroline, and it's got bleach and stuff in it, so I wanted to try it. Put that on there, and I'm just going to skip ahead, but I'll let this sit for, you know, like 2 minutes or so, just so that it can kind of like eat whatever's on there. It kind of like eats into it, kills it, whatever. And then we're going to come in with this magic eraser and scrub it off. All right, it's been about 2 minutes, so I'm going to come in with the magic eraser, and I'm just gently scrubbing this. I'm not going like ham with it or pressing down super hard. Definitely way easier to do with the plastics attached to the quad. Like if you took the plastics off and tried to do this on the bench, I think it would kind of be a pain in the ass. You can see it dulled them up quite a bit, but they're still there. I'm gonna give it another spray and let it sit for another couple minutes. All right, it's been another couple minutes. That stuff is really stubborn. Like whatever that mildew shit is, it doesn't just come off, man. I'm doing like a nice hard line on this side. I'm going to show you guys when I'm done. You can see the before and after though. It's crazy how scummy that stuff was. It really looked like crap. Wipe this bastard off and I'll show you the results. Wow. Whew. Are those brand new plastics? I just don't know. Seriously though, look at this line. That's not a shadow. That's before and this is after. I mean, that's like tremendous results. And what's crazy is this is after pressure washing, degreasing, and scrubbing, trying to clean that up. That was as clean as I could get it. What a difference, man. So definitely way, way better. You can see all that mold and stuff is still up there. I will be getting all of that off, but I really want to leave the rest dirty so that we can see the difference. Now I have a special weapon to bring these things back to have that glossy finish and be nice and protected. And there's one other thing that I might want to try if we've got enough time. I want to try to clean up this headlight. It looks like somebody might have put like brake clean or something on this. If you've ever put brake clean or carburetor cleaner on a plastic light, it kind of like cracks up like that. I'm not sure what that is. I was going to replace that, but this tool that I have, it might be able to fix this too. So what's this tool, Mike? What's this tool? Well, if you'd be patient, I'll show you. It's right over here. All right, check it out, man. We're over here on the tool table. We've got the Spata Power Tools. This is a cordless car polisher. I've actually always wanted one of these. A small one like this. You're gonna see in a sec. I got it. I've been playing with it. It's right here. SPTA. It's got like a little safety on the side. This was like a not name brand, but this company had like a whole bunch of other polishing stuff, and it's not, I don't know if it's name brand or it's not, it had good reviews is what I'm trying to say, all right? It had good reviews. They definitely, if you're familiar with Milwaukee, they copied the Milwaukee design. If you look at my M12 Fuel, it's like very similar. But I'll tell you what, it's heavy. It feels quality. The motor sounds pretty good. And we're going to use some others just because it's something that I have here. I know this is a good wax. There's a million things that we could use. I honestly just want to see what this does. So I'm going to put it on one of these pads, probably like a medium or soft pad, and just go to town and let's see what we can do with these plastics. All right, now I'm just going to do this small area here so we can do like before and see the difference. And if I really wanted to go crazy, you know, I could do like different levels of rubbing compound and stuff. But I kind of just want to see if we can get some decent results without, you know, breaking our back here. I don't know if you guys can see, but it is bringing a gloss back. Most definitely. Whoa, that looks really good in the front there. All right, now I'm going to come in with this pad and just buff it up. Wow. Now this is a step that you absolutely cannot skip. You need to do the Snuggles mitten. You have to do this. I was not expecting the results to be this good. The shine is so good. They literally look brand new. Look at the glare. And this was only after like 2 minutes. Look at the difference between like what's not done and done. I mean, holy crap. And then if you look at the other side, this is the one that was just cleaned up. I got the mildew stuff out of there. I mean, it looks clean, but it has like a flat appearance. It's not glossy. And then you look at this one, look at the difference. There's no reflection in the one, whereas the new one really looks so good. I'm shocked. That took about 2 minutes to do. Granted, that was an easy section, so it's like a nice flat portion. You know, we start getting into all these little details and stuff, it's gonna take more time, but wow. I mean, a couple hours, you could have all the plastics looking like brand new. It took about 5 hours, but I managed to clean these up, and sitting on the table, these things look like brand spanking new. They're not perfect, but they look pretty damn good. On the front fender, I put brand new warning decals. They're actually takeoffs from the Voodoo Banshee. I figured that I could use them one day, and this was perfect. Now, they're not perfect, but these are, I would say, 90% restored. All right, man, we need to tear this thing down because we can't order all the parts that we need without seeing exactly what we need. We can't do that while this thing's together. You can see how nice these plastics came out
I did restore all of them, and we're gonna take a closer look at those in a minute. But first, I wanna get these off so that we have good access to those rear axle nuts, because I've forgotten to take them off in the past. It's a really good idea to do that first thing because you have the weight of the machine, and man, those things can be a bear sometimes. This is the airbox as well. It's built into the rear plastics. That underside needs to be cleaned. All right, I'm gonna pull this apart before we wash it. Ooh, that's not good. Look at that. I guess the brace for the air bracket, or the air filter, this comes in and threads in like that. I don't know if I did that, tightened it up too much and it cracked, or if somebody else did that. That could be repaired. I'm gonna see how much this costs to replace. It might not be very much. Whew, man, it's brisk out here. Let's get this done. All right, in 15 minutes, this will probably all be ice. Okay, now we got the swing arm bolt loose last time. That's one of the first things you want to get done. And then of course, we've got to do our axle nuts. Now, to prevent the quad from rolling, it's always great to have a buddy to step on the rear brake. However, we're working by ourselves right now. So these things are a godsend, these clamps. You can reverse them, set it the opposite way, so it's a spreader, and they just become very utilitarian. So kind of like whatever you're working with, you can make it work. So we're gonna put this on the rear brake, which it does work, and then I have it wedged up here on the frame. Boom! And now we got somebody holding the rear brake. Now I just have this feeling that these are not gonna be nearly as stubborn as some of the other ones. If you guys remember the last Banshee that we did, that was probably like one of the worst I ever had. Oh man, that's really tight. Oh my God. Dude, this is the tightest bolt. Oh, yes! Yes! Oh, you bitch. But I did put oil on these a couple days ago, and I just have this feeling. It doesn't look like they were ever removed. Could have spoken too soon. Oh my gosh. Am I tight? I'm tightening. Oh yeah, there we go. Easy. That was easy. I'm really glad that was easy. And now for the second nut, which usually if the first one comes off, yep, we're good. We got it beat. Now in theory, we've got the two most difficult pieces done. That doesn't mean that there isn't something else we'll come across that's seized, but at least now we can put this on the stand, and it'll be a little bit easier tearing this thing down. The next thing I want to pull off are these tires. This gas tank we can get out of the way. This thing was covered in scum. I cleaned it off when I did the plastics. Now a good trick to get these cotter pins out is using a pair of dikes. Kind of enables you to drag them out. You grab them like that, and then you use the edge of the nut, and it makes it really easy. Somebody taught me this one time, and I was like, man,
What have I been doing my whole life? All right, I've got our handy brake tool on, holding this from spinning. I think this is gonna come right off. Nice. Ooh, that's never come off before. Look at that. The zinc coating is fresh under there. That looks great. Now I'm gonna get these re-zinc coated. I've got my zinc box right here. Toss that in there. And then just all the parts that are gonna get zinc coated, things like this rock guard, just putting them right in the zinc box, keeping everything nice and organized. I have to put a hub puller on this. Man, this hub is really tight. In order to get these rotors off, you have to pull the hub out just slightly. Unless you don't have the guard on there. The guard makes it so that you do have to loosen it up just a little bit. Ooh, that's why. Looks like some water got in there. Now we can get our disc guard off. These will be getting zinc coated as well. By the way, guys, all the zinc coating is being done by Moto Blast. Man, you want to see some fresh zinc coating? Look in there. That is a definite sign that this stuff has never been taken apart before. Jeez. Whew. Shit is tight. I have a feeling we're gonna have to use the puller on this side too. This side looks the same way. Now the tie rods and spindles can be a pain in the ass too sometimes. Let's see if we can sneak in here. Nice. Sometimes if you turn the wheel real hard, left and right, it breaks them free. I don't think that's gonna happen this time. Give her a couple taparoonies. But you don't wanna go crazy with this, because these ends mushroom real easy. I don't think this is gonna come out. We gotta use a tool. These little things are a godsend. And the best part about them is it usually saves the boot too. Let's get the shock out of here so that we can pivot the arm. See, now we can pivot this up and down, and sometimes that makes the tool set a little bit better. Okay, so what's happening is this pin is sliding off the bottom of our tie rod. So I'm gonna throw a nut on here. That'll kind of act as a guide to keep it in place. And hopefully then it won't slide off. Like that. If it slides off now, I just don't know. Yay, see? There you go. No problem. All right, let's see if our spindles come off as easy. These spindles are a little different than what I'm used to. Usually you've got the same kind of connections at the bottom and the top, but this one has a little bit different. Top one comes off easy. It's almost like how a shifter or a kickstarter would bolt on. Where the hell did that bolt go? Man, I'll tell you what. This tool is a godsend. And yes, the boot is good. It just oozed out the top. Let's get rid of these heel guards. We'll pull this one off. You can see this has got this custom rear reservoir. That has to be some kind of aftermarket thing that somebody got creative with. There's no way that that mounts sideways like that right there. If it does, I don't know. Whew, man, it was all rusty. There's no way. That was OEM. There's no way. Plus, this reservoir seems super long. That usually, I feel like the aftermarket ones come like that. You can see this one, the whole bottom corner here is missing. It's junk, man. Now we're gonna go low here and get this skid plate off. Oh God, because it actually blocks the skid plate and the sprocket. Oh, dude, these are really tight, but they're moving, so that's good, I think. Oh, yes. It's actually a pretty nice skid plate. It's not like all dented and twisted up. Sometimes these things get mangled. And a new one of these is really expensive. They're like $200. Now we'll see if we can get this rear caliper off. This rear bumper is really making things difficult. Jeez. Whew, man, that was super tight. Now hopefully, yeah, hopefully. Let's put our nut on here, give it a couple whaps. Well, it does not appear to be moving, and I have a tool for this so that we don't mushroom this over. Might as well use it. This is Mushroom Head. He'll take all the blow you can give him. Ah, it's working. Looks like it broke our sprocket hub free. I'm a little worried because if you look in there, it's looking a little rusty. So I think that the inner race of the bearing is probably seized to the axle. It looks like it is. So this might be an oil job where we put some oil in there and let it set for a while. I think we can take the A-arms off. Son of a bitch. Problem is this damn thing isn't anchored well. When I'm hitting it, all the energy is just going away, you know, moving the whole quad. So I think what will actually be a better idea, because I don't really have a great way of anchoring this. I tried strapping it to the wall and it's just, I don't know, it's jank. So I think actually removing the entire swing arm assembly and then putting that on the bench sideways so that we can hit down and have the actual swing arm anchored to the bench. And plus, if we have it sideways, I can put oil in the carrier and it'll sit there and work its way down. And I bet you it'll come out a hell of a lot easier than what we're doing now. Now I'm gonna get this mess of brake lines and stuff. We've got the parking brake cable there and stuff, and the master cylinder. I'm gonna take all that stuff off on my own, but before I take it off, I wanted to show you, this definitely is an aftermarket rear master cylinder. And we've got some, like, what the hell we got going on here? Some weird through bolts making it fit. But surprisingly, that rear brake did work very well. All right, let's get this shock and rear bumper out of the way. Man, I would have hated to do that by hand. Whoa! There's our rear bumper. That's actually a really rare piece. Now this should come out fairly easily because we've had it out already. Close. All right, this could be difficult to anchor because we've got a lot of little obstacles here that we're contending with. All right, that's just to hold it for now. Yeah, there's no doubt here. You can see it's rusted pretty good in there. And that inner race is seized to the axle, I'm sure of it. So what we'll do is we'll take a little bit of PB Blast, and since we've got it standing up now, we can kind of fill that up, and we'll let that soak while we're taking care of the front end. And you'd be amazed how much this can help. Sometimes it will fall out like nothing at all. All right, now if we don't lose some weight on the front end of this thing, we're gonna timber. So let's get this heavy-ass aluminum 3-pound bumper off the front and this expensive LED light bar out of here. You know, this thing actually is pretty heavy. It's got to weigh like a good 3-4 pounds. It's like solid as a f***ing rock. I was thinking of selling this for $472 in my eBay store. Just kidding. I think I actually want to mount this on the handlebars. Get this DG bumper off. This is actually a pretty nice bumper. It's got a little bit of damage to it, but I think it'll be easy enough to fix. You can see up here, it's split on both sides. I was saying in another video, this thing probably was towed or like pull started or something, so it was, you know, yanked on and it ripped that tab back. But that should be easy to bend and weld up. Now we've got easy access to our A-arms. Oh man. Oh, amazing. I've had these get seized too. Oh, thank God. That bolt looks beautiful. It's rare. Are you serious? The freaking brake line goes through there and there's no opening? Wow. Ugh. It's amazing how tight these are, but the bolts just slide right out. Usually that's a combination pack. All right, not too bad. Now this one, because it's got this loop, we'll have to pop the caliper off real quick. Try not to make a mess here. And then run our cable through. Why's everything gotta be tight? Wow, I didn't think that was gonna come off. Victory is imminent. I took off the wire harness, the front brakes, the heel guards, and just some other components. And we're left with these beautiful handlebars and actually a straight steering stem. This is incredible. This is incredible. We almost never get straight steering stems here. At Basket Case Garage, we always have to tear them down. Oh, and I did want to take these grips off and offer them for sale. This one, unfortunately, is stuck. But this one here is actually in really good shape. I've never seen these before. They're by Scott, and I think they're a limited edition. These are definitely valuable. 15 bucks. Then we've got these bars that are in really good shape too. And I think it would be a shame not to offer these for sale, especially because they're twisted. They're really nice bars. Get our upper clamp off. This has probably never been removed. The fact that this is pretty tight, that's a great sign. Almost like reusable. I think I'll at least get new seals just cause, but this is in really good shape. Beautiful. What the hell? It's filled with water. There's a cap that's supposed to go there, prevent that from happening, so I'll be ordering that. And finally, we'll take our headlight off. We're gonna restore this thing and make it look like brand new. Then I've got our regulator and our CDI, and that will release the wire harness. That's pretty much it. All right, so we're down to the bare frame. Let's take a good look at this thing before we move on to that headlight. Frame appears to be in pretty decent shape. As far as rust and stuff goes, there is some, got a little bit going on back here. I don't think it's as bad as it looks. This up under here I think is the worst that I found, but I don't think it's rot. I'll probably hit that with a wire wheel before I send it out to Bonehead for powder coating. But otherwise, everything looks straight. The paint honestly looks pretty good. I mean, you could clean this up and it wouldn't look half bad. It really wouldn't. I didn't really notice any other crazy stuff. Oh, back here, you could see the condition of the chain rollers is really good. We've got a good amount of life left on them, especially this bottom one is in really good shape. And I did find this up here. I mean, as far as broken bolts and stuff, everything looked pretty good. I mean, I'm sure I'll find something, but I did find this for the tank. So let's see if we can get one last quick victory before we have to move on to that thing. Which, by the way, this whole time, that oil has been sitting in there and the oil level has not gone down. So that means the oil is not making it through. It's not looking good. Well, let's just forget that we have to deal with that and revel in the fact that we have a portion of this bolt sticking out of the frame to grab onto. Because in the world of mechanics and broken bolts, that is just an absolute blessing. It's definitely stuck though. I mean, we've got a good bite on it. I think it's moving though. I do think we got it. Yeah, we got it. We're good. Oh yeah, we're good. All right, man, let's get to work on this light. This thing is looking pitiful. Whatever this stuff is, you can feel it. Let's get it out of this black plastic housing first. I think we've got 2 Phillips head screwdrivers. Ooh, man, is that dirty. Already in the back here, you can see we've got some questionable stuff going on. Looks like somebody super glued this in there. It looks up is what it looks like. Yeah, I definitely think we got to replace this whole thing here. Trash. Now the question is there something broken or messed up here? Let me clean off all this stuff. Well, looking at pictures online, I think we're okay. It looks like there's just kind of like this metal sort of frame. It looks just like ours. It's just that ours is extremely dirty and it's filled with hot glue. So probably somebody put the wrong, there's probably supposed to be like a rubber grommet in this or something, or I don't know, but somebody tried to fill the gap with hot glue and it just didn't work out. Now what I'm worried about is that, you know, there's dirt and stuff inside this. So hopefully if we can clean the outside of this, it's not dirty on the inside. All right, let's get this thing chucked up. This is kind of like a free play because I was planning on replacing this anyways. So we'll get some experience with buffing plastic and headlights. And if it doesn't work out, well, you know where this thing's going. Now my plan is to work my way all the way up to 1000 grit sandpaper and then use a polishing compound to smooth this out. These are actually really deep grooves. So I'm starting with 240 grit and I'm gonna use the orbital sander. I know that's gonna be controversial, but remember, this isn't gonna be a professional restoration. We're basically just screwing around with this to see if we can save it and have some fun. And I have a feeling it's gonna come out okay. And we will be using wet sandpapers, so I'll be trying to keep this wet the whole time. That's what she said. All right, let's see what we're working with here. That's after the first pass. Wow, you can still see divots. You can barely feel them though, but you still can see those cracks. So we're gonna have to do another pass. I wanna get all of those out before we go onto the fine sandpaper because the fine sandpaper, you really gotta work it, and we're doing that by hand. It took a good bit of sanding, but we've got it nice and smooth now. I'd say this is already a win. Even the way it looks now, it looks better than it did. It basically kind of looks like, you know, frosted glass. Now I'm gonna bump it up to 320, and unfortunately I don't have this for the sander, so from this point forward, I'll be sanding by hand. It's probably gonna be a pain in my ass. And this is all wet dry sandpaper. Well, it definitely looks slightly more clear now that we've done the 320. Let's step it up to 400 and then 600 and see what it looks like then. Man, I'm actually starting to get my hopes up here. It's definitely getting more clear with the sandpaper. We're up to 600 grits. It's actually transparent now Let's throw some 1000 on there and see what it looks like. Now the camera doesn't seem to be picking up the minute changes each time that we're getting into a finer grade of sandpaper. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up, but it is getting more transparent. I don't have anything better than a 1000 grit sandpaper, so we're gonna move into the compounds. We're gonna use a rubbing compound, then a polishing compound. Basically, it's like a super fine sandpaper. You can see it's meant for heavy stains, oxidation, and scratches. So it gets really, really fine scratches and swirls out. Then this goes even finer, and then we're gonna wax it with the same stuff that we put on the plastics, because this stuff worked so well, and we are gonna be using our brand new tool. All right, guys, now I'm expecting the results to be absolutely insane. Put some rubbing compound on there. I guess I really don't need a pad this big, but whatever. Actually, it's already visibly more clear. Wow, I really hope you guys can see that. The camera just hasn't been picking it up, but I mean, this is the most drastic change so far. You can see all the spiders and shit inside. Damn, it's still not great, but what a difference from the last level. And the only reason that I sort of have a process for this is because I've done a good amount of headlight restoration, and I kind of just like came up with my own way when I was a teenager and just kind of perfected it over the years, and it just works really well on plastic, clear plastic anyways. We are now at a point that if it had just looked like this when I got it, I wouldn't have even messed with it. I would just put this back together. I would consider that a headlight in good condition. So at this point, I would say that we've won. This is a winning battle here. Although we could still lose. I would not put that past me. I've been known to want to, you're just like, getting these great results. You're like, oh, it's got to be better. I do shit like that. This one time I was doing a headlight, and this headlight was looking like brand new, dude. It was looking awesome. And I had this huge Harbor Freight buffer, and I'm like going to town, dude. And I was like, oh man, I want this thing to be invisible. And I got this thing at like maximum RPMs, and I got it in the vise, and it catches like the edge or something, rips it out of the vise, flings it across the room, and cracks the front of the headlight after hours of work, dude. So that could happen. All right, let's get to work with our polishing compound. This is just a finer compound. Make it even more clear and get rid of even finer scratches. Do 2 coats of this. All right, guys, and this is after 2 coats of polishing compound. I mean, it doesn't look too much different from before, but it is. I mean, at this point, I don't think you need to go much further. But I'm gonna put the wax on there because that does help protect it as well. That looks pretty damn good. It came out really, really nice. Basically, like brand new. The only thing we got to contend with is if you can see inside, you can see there's like spiders and bugs and stuff in there. Not bad enough that I think we have to, heat this up and take the lens off because that can get kind of dangerous. But I'm thinking maybe we can blow it out with compressed air, and then we've just got to clean up this bullshit in the back here without getting too many contaminants inside either. So once we do those 2 obstacles, we got a brand new light. Now, as far as the inside of this goes with this glue stuff, I think we might have gotten lucky. It doesn't look like it's sticking very well. So we might be able to just peel this off. I was originally thinking to go in here with a little wire wheel or something, but then we're gonna be shooting all kinds of debris inside. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I think we can just scrape this off. We'll be good to go. And then I'll just blow some compressed air inside, and hopefully we can get those spiders and stuff out. Oh, yes. Sometimes it can be so satisfying to just clean stuff up. A lot easier than I thought it'd be. Now, as far as this project goes, it's almost sad to say, but we are going to be using these black fenders. We're going to be replacing the front 2 fenders, the hood, and the tank cover with black, but we are going to be utilizing those rear plastics over there. So for the most part, we're broken down. I'm going to be sending my stuff out to Bonehead Performance for powder coating, and then I'll be sending stuff off to Moto Blast for zinc coating and to get stuff vapor blasted. So here are my boxes. I have everything semi-organized. I have to go through all of this stuff. I will organize it by color before I send it out to Moto Blast and Bonehead Performance. I have to take all of my bushings out of the A-arms, the bearings out of the front hubs. So there's definitely a little bit of work to do. I'm going to be doing that stuff off camera because it's really boring and monotonous. But there is one other thing that we have to do. This damn axle is coming out. This is it for you, mother. Jesus. We're winning. We're winning. Bitch. It moved. Bitch. Sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta not take no for an answer. And that's what we did here tonight. In the last week, we've got a ton of parts for the Yamaha Blaster. We're actually ready to build that thing. The powder coat came in from Bonehead Performance. That's all done, as well as the zinc coating from Moto Blast. All the cases are vapor blasted and stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys all those parts. They came out amazing. I can't wait to show you guys. But I do want to get some work done with you guys as well. This is all going to be on the Yamaha Blaster. So let's just jump right into it, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So I've been pretty busy behind the scenes doing all of my pre-build stuff, so basically putting in bearings and things like that, just getting ready to assemble the machine. So now we'll move on to the shock absorber. We've got the old shock here. These things were really cruddy to begin with. I'll show before and afters once we put this spring on, but it came out really, really nice. I was unable to remove these. I'm not sure if you can do that without removing the piston or the shaft. It just wouldn't slip over this, but I managed to paint them in place, basically mask the whole thing off and put these here, and I was able to scuff them and throw a coating on them. So it came out pretty nice. And then this piece that came off is sent to Moto Blast, so it's basically like brand new. We got some yellow zinc on there. Then I got a hoagie. This is for lunch. Just kidding, this is the spring, guys. This is how it comes from when I pick my stuff up at Bonehead Performance. They usually have everything wrapped up really nice. So this is the original spring. The shocks were in good shape. They were just really dirty. And the springs had some wear on them because the person before had shock wears on, which, you know, shock wears are great, but they do tend to rub away the outside surface. This is the color that I chose. I didn't want it to look like OEM because I think there were some OEM years of the Blaster where they had white springs, but I actually wanted these to be white. It goes with the color scheme. You can see, beautiful, beautiful job by Bonehead Performance. We want to make sure that we've got the small coils at the top. So we'll go in this direction. And what we're going to have to do is compress the spring. And that's what I've got this tool right here for. This is a brand new tool. I'm actually like really excited about this. You can see it's like a screw style jack. And it just brings these two hooks together. A couple things to note before you put this on. Make sure you lubricate the threaded shaft in there. And then we'll just place these two hooks right where those rubber protectors are. And I like putting these, I wanted to put this so that, you know, the bolt portion that you turn is at the bottom. So it's easy to get a wrench on there. If it's up here, you know, you're kind of bumping into the spring and stuff, you risk damaging it. So it fits down here nicely on this Blaster spring. Tighten them up with your fingers as much as they go. It's amazing. You can actually get this to move a little bit just by hand. Then I kind of just bring this to the end of the bench, get a 17mm socket. You could use an electric tool. I just found that it was more controllable doing it this way. And just crank down each side and keep going back and forth. You don't want to go too far on one side. We're just going to bring this in, and the whole time it is compressing the spring. These things, I mean, I'm telling you, this is a super easy tool to use. I think this is a great tool to have. The way I got them off was really sketchy, and this is like a lifesaver in comparison, and it was only like 30 bucks, so. All right, there's our compressed spring. Take our shaft here. This will slide in place. Not quite, we gotta tighten it down just a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now we can release these things. Again, bringing it to the edge of the bench just makes it easier to get the wrench on there. And as you're releasing this, just make sure that retainer stays where you want it. And just like when we were putting it on, we'll go back and forth and equally release the pressure. Boom. Super easy, no chips on the springs or anything. And we basically have a brand new shock here. All right, now we've got our boot retainer for the airbox. I don't know if you recall when I took this off, I either cracked it or it already was cracked. And you can see the split, it's right there. And what it's doing is it's pulling this whole thing forward. So it should actually be flat. Now I was going to replace this piece, just order a new one, but it's no longer available. So I made a fix. I cut this little piece out of just bar stock. And the middle, I've got an empty hole in case that bolt comes through there. It can continue to, follow through. And then I've got 2 holes here that I threaded. And then I drilled 2 holes in the unit itself. What we're going to do is put this on the back. And when we thread bolts in the front, that should pull it nice and flat. And that'll give it good structure. I mean, this is overkill. This is steel. And it should never break after that. All right, so to get this in place, I'm going to thread in the air filter bolt until it comes out the back. Now I'll put our plate in place. This washer and nut will hold it in place and pull the plastic piece straight. And you'll see, as I tighten this down, it should straighten out. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be pissed. All right, there it is. You can see, nice and flat now, and that shouldn't break. Now, obviously we can't have this here. So, let's line these holes up. And I'm going to put these bolts in here and put a little bit of red Loctite on here because this should be permanent. I don't ever plan on taking this off. And then I've got some wide washers. I did have to shave a little section off of the one side so that it fits. And these should thread in place, no problem. It's stuff like this, on discontinued parts and, stuff that you can't get anymore. We got to get a little bit creative and fix what you've got. Plastic can be difficult, especially even if you could plastic weld. I feel like it's never quite as strong as original. But this steel brace should permanently fix this, and it'll be stronger than it ever was.
Now guys, the shock absorber and the airbox brace are just 2 examples of the many pieces that I completely restored on this machine. As you can imagine, it would take forever to do them all in this video, but if you're interested in seeing more details, like this front brake master cylinder, this is the original master cylinder. I completely restored everything from the inside to the outside. If you guys want to see details on that, check out the full series where you can see a breakdown in a lot more detail on this Yamaha Blaster.
Enough of fixing parts. Let's check out what we all came here for, the vapor blasted parts.
Just look at this stuff, man. This is crazy. These are all the original parts, man. Look at these cases. Look at this side cover, man. This is the most impressive of all. It's where it was all messed up at the top. You can see it just looks like kind of nicked up now. Really good results. Silencer, but this thing looks brand new, dude. I could never clean it like this at home. The texture is really, really nice and even. It looks awesome. And here's the case repair. It looks a lot nicer now that it has an even texture. I mean, you can still see it's there, but Nice repair. I'll show you the inside. Now we've still got the zinc coated stuff from Motor Blast to go over, but before we do that, I want to show you guys how all the stuff came from Bonehead Performance. Obviously we've got the frame in there, we've got the wheels over here, and then we've got 2 boxes of parts. Now I don't know about you guys, but I'm dying to see what this frame looks like all unwrapped and under the lights. Let's take a look at it. Man, this is absolutely like Christmas. This might as well not even be the same frame. It went out looking like crap, and now it looks like brand new. Wow, dude. This color freaking pops. I couldn't help it. I had to throw the bumper on and the swing arm just kind of mocked up so that you guys could see the contrast of the colors, man. This stuff looks awesome. I mean, just look at these colors, dude. It came out so cool. This is Illusion Gold from Bonehead Performance. And then I've got all these parts just laying out. Got the heel guards here, my steering stem, all that stuff. Our carrier I did in the same Illusion Gold, as well as the spring. And then these front hubs, they're actually powder coated in a silver to protect that aluminum. But everything looks awesome. We'll put the seat in place. Now the tan on the seat and the gold on the frame don't match quite perfectly, but I don't think they clash. The graphics aren't going to match perfectly either, but when there's multiple shades of a certain color, that usually just makes things work. That's kind of what I was hoping for here. That's probably one of the hardest parts when it comes to design, at least for me, because I'm not like going into a store and picking the colors. Except with Bonehead I am, but that's the only one. And then all these other ones, these are all on the screen. I couldn't really find like a gold seat anyways. I'm sure somebody makes it. That would have been really cool, but the tan, I think it will all flow once it all goes together. Usually once everything, like I said before, like with different shades and stuff, once it's together, I think it's gonna flow nicely. I'm not too worried about it. Yet again, several hours wasted arranging bolts. But it looks freaking sweet, man. Check this out. Boom. I don't know why, I just think this is so cool. All of these bolts, we've got black zinc on the left, yellow zinc on the right. I just get a kick out of the yellow zinc. I think it makes it look, yellow zinc just screams new. Especially look at these hubs, man. It's like the type of coating that you don't see on a DIY at home kind of thing. It's really professional. I mean, you do need a special, setup to do this. Luckily, I've found Motor Blast, and man, the guy just does a great job. All of these bolts look so good. When we put this quad together, man, with all these fresh bolts and stuff, it's just gonna look awesome. I can't wait. The contrast of the bolts to the powder coat and stuff, all that stuff to me, I just get so excited, and I'm super excited to share the experience with you guys. We're gonna be building this thing really soon. I'm ready to start right now. I really am.
Now we're just about ready to start putting this thing back together. The first thing we need to do though is get the engine built. I spent some time making sure that the engine cases were good and surfaced. I addressed the issues that we had with our broken cases, and I also put all new bearings in the bottom end as well as the studs. Now that all of that is set up, we're ready to build the engine.
Now we are ready to build this bottom end. I want to show you guys how I set up everything before I start building it. It makes everything go together really easily, and it also helps reduce the chance of forgetting like a washer or something like that. So I have my spread right here, and you can see there are some parts missing. That's because what I do is I go over to my service manual and my schematics. The best way to find schematics, Rocky Mountain ATV. In the OEM section, you've got a schematic for literally everything. You want to go to the brakes, we go to the brake caliper. So you have your schematic, you can see all of your washers and all the little pieces and stuff. So once I've looked over the schematic, I will take all of my parts and put them aside. So they're all taken from my main pile, and I put them over here. So we're gonna be doing the bottom end and the transmission. So all of the parts that go inside the crankcase before we seal this up are all right here, and that is really the main thing that helps you from getting it together and forgetting to put a washer in or something, because I have done that before. I also read through the service manual before I did anything. Even though I could probably get this thing together, just figuring it out, it's just better to have read the manual beforehand. And then if I need to refer to it, I can do that as well. And then I've got my tools all set here, so that I'm gonna be using anyways, not all of them, but the special tools like the crank installer. That's the first thing we're gonna be doing. And behind the computer here, I've got all of my Loctites, my assembly lube, grease, anti-seize, and then my Beanol 2-stroke oil. We'll be using that to install the cylinder. So there you have it, guys. That is all the information that I can do. That's the best I can help you, man. Setting you up for success, even though we could still have something go wrong. It's just never seamless. Well, maybe it will be. We've already had some mess ups today, so let's just get after it.
Well guys, it is D-Day and I am surrounded by a 2004 Yamaha Blaster. I've got just about every piece that we need to build a complete Yamaha Blaster right here on the driveway. If you're wondering, yes, it took about 2 hours to set this up. And also, yes, my neighbors probably think I'm a complete nut job. Well, I don't know why you guys are standing around like a bunch of union workers, but this quad ain't gonna build itself. So let's get started. I'm just kidding. Union workers work very hard too. But I did notice that not one of you showed up this morning to help put this stuff out in the driveway. That was a ton of work. But you're here for the fun part. Is that how it is? But I get it. Now, if you guys have worked with me before, you know I like to keep things organized, except for in my personal life. That's a complete mess. But you'll see, just like we had it outside, I've got everything laid out, and this is just gonna make things really nice so that when we're installing things on the frame, you just kind of take things piece by piece, and as you see the pile disappear, that can be really satisfying as well. It just makes things go easier. Up here, I've got the exhaust laid out, our brake lines, which, yeah, we're reusing the original brake lines. First time I'm ever doing that. Just trying to keep everything, pretty much stock for this build. I've got the carburetor up here. I've got my spec bolt kit. This is a really nice kit. It's just kind of like mix-matched random OEM style bolts, washers, crush washers for like the drain bolts. There's some plastic Yamaha fasteners in here. A really nice kit. You can pick these up on eBay. I'll have that linked in the description below. I have my OEM parts in here. There's some Banshee stuff in here too. Then I have like my random bolt bin. I've got all my zinc bolts right here. Got my Loctites, all that stuff. Got the black zinc, the yellow zinc, stainless steel hardware. There's more black zinc back here. This is like random stuff if I need extras. This is the stuff that's actually going on the bike. So this is gonna be another pile. I really enjoy seeing the pile disappear as it's going on the bike. We're gonna kind of go in a different order this time. Usually I like to get the engine in first and then move on to like the A-arms and other stuff. Let's start with the steering stem. Got a little bit of grease on there. I did put a new steering stem bushing in here. The Blaster uses O-rings. It's like a different system than what I usually see. And along with putting in new bushings, I put all new tabs, new plugs, any rubber bushings or anything that needed to be put in place. All of the pre-work is done on the frame. I went around and made sure that all of our bolt holes are large enough for the bolts to fit through. That's something really common when you get something powder coated, that the powder coat is so thick that you can't get the bolt through anymore. So I have a really cool tool that it cleans up the holes really, really easily. I will have that linked in the description below. I like to do all that ahead of time, so when it comes to assembly time, like right now, everything goes together nice and easily. I'm gonna get this grease zerk under here while it's easy access. And we're gonna go torque Nazi full effect today. 22 foot-pounds. And can't forget the cotter pin and our zip tie. What the f***? Are you serious? And our zip tie. All right, here we go. Bastard. And then up here, if you guys remember, when I pulled this off, a whole bunch of water came out of there and got me. Beautiful. What the hell? It's because there was no plug in it, so I did order the OEM plug. Putting anti-seize on all these bolts so that the next guy that tears it down, this stuff won't be seized, because that does happen. These are the original A-arms. I've got brand new bushings from Vito's. Cleaned up the dust caps. They were actually in good shape. Hopefully this will fit. Sometimes with new powder coat, you gotta tap it in place. Man, it's like the damn A-arm is too wide. These are the ones that came out though. Look at that, man. It's really just like the A-arm is too wide. I wonder if this has a little bit of flex in it. These are the OEM A-arms that came off of this machine, so it has to fit in there. I'm sure though, if we play around with it, we will get it to fit. That's what she said. All right, A-arms are installed. All of the other ones went on really easy. This one was just kind of a
to get on there. And if I do remember correctly, this one was tough to get off too. I had to whap it with the mallet a couple times to get it out of there. The other one's just kind of popped out of place. So probably just a manufacturing defect. Okay, let's get this leak down tester off and get the engine in the frame. Dude, it is so nice working with this Blaster engine because it's so light. It's just easy to maneuver. After working with the damn Raptor 660 engine, that thing sucked. Get this front engine bolt in here. Now I can lift up the engine, pull this towel out, and there's another mount that goes back here. This one was actually missing. There was no bolt in this when I took this engine off. There were a lot of bolts on this that were either missing or the ones that were in there were like real Mickey Mouse hardware stuff. A lot of stuff was just mismatched, and definitely one of those machines you have to go over everything and make sure everything's good. Let's see if we can get this thing in here without too much of a problem. I've got my swing arm bolt ready to go, and I've got a shitload of anti-seize on it. This is a place where you don't want to skip out on the anti-seize, that's for sure. I'd really like to get this thing in tonight, and then I'm going to sleep. I'm starting to get pissed off and tired. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, that really wasn't too bad. All right, one last thing, since that went together so easily. All right, one last thing, since that went together so easily. We'll put the shock in place. Son of a bitch. Come on, you mother. Don't make me regret this. What the man? Bastard. What the dude? Why is this being such a bitch? Just put the shock in, they said. It'll be easy, they said. Are you kidding me? Come on. Oh, there we go. Bastard. Man, that was whack. Putting that rear shock on really was a pain in the ass. What the hell, man? I'm like, whoa, we did so good with the swing arm bolt. We've got to do the rear shock. We've got a pretty nice start, though. Everything is looking pretty good. Our pile's getting smaller. It's nice to see things disappearing. I'm going to call it for tonight. I have to get up early tomorrow and get my license renewed, and I'm not exactly thrilled to be going to the DMV. So I'm going to go to sleep, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I want to jump right into the front end. Got pretty much everything we need laid out on the ground here. Everything is nice and refinished, man. This stuff looks so good. Let's get it on there. While we're in here, we'll place our tie rods. Now I'll throw the shock in here. All right, I got the other side assembled. I went ahead and tightened down our tie rods and anything else that I could get tightened down right now. I also installed our disc guards and the front brake lines. And while I was at it, I put the front master cylinder on as well. All right, so now we can put our fresh hubs on. There we go. Before the hub can be pushed all the way in, we have to put our caliper in place. You have to do this when you've got these disc guards on here, otherwise they won't fit. We'll bolt up our calipers back here. These bolts are both going to get blue Loctite. These will get tightened down to 17 foot-pounds. Now I can hook my banjo bolt up. And our castle nut. And I like to put a hitch pin through these. We'll put a zip tie on here, just to give it a little bit more security so that that doesn't come out. And then the last piece is our rock guard.
And man, that looks way better than it did before. My gosh, can you even tell that these are the same components down to the bolts and washers? I mean, just unbelievable how much better it looks. All right, let's get this carrier in here. This is being a little stubborn down here, getting the carrier to fit between probably the chain sliders. So I'm just gonna put this little mini spreader down here, and that should give it just enough to fit in here. It was just barely making it. Use the old screwdriver technique. These will get a little bit of blue Loctite. All right, now let's get the axle in place. Hopefully this goes together easier than it came off. Thank God, man. Feels great. Got a nice primary drive aluminum sprocket. You can spin our axle nuts in place. Probably won't spin these down or tighten them down anyways until the quad's on the ground. Why won't this seat in the seal? Oh, trying to get this sprocket hub to pop all the way in place. Well, obviously it ain't gonna work. Got one of the bolts. I just had that in place for the skid plate and it's holding it up. That's why you should always take your time when things just don't seem to be fitting. It could be something dumb like that. And if you were to like tighten the axle nuts and force something, that's when you end up breaking stuff. I'm just gonna spin these hub nuts in place for right now, but these will be getting red Loctite and I'll tighten these down later. All right, let's get a rear caliper on back here. This thing really looks awesome. This is all vapor blasted by Moto Blast. This is the original caliper. Put a rebuild kit from Vito's Performance. Got all zinc plated hardware. And then this is just kind of a generic billet block off. And I'm torquing these down to 17 foot-pounds. Now the rear master cylinder that came on this quad was an aftermarket and it was kind of janky. It did work, but it really wasn't that nice. So I went and bought another aftermarket, and this has to be one of the best reproductions, I guess knockoffs you could call it. This looks just like an OEM all the way down to the little Nissan marking. I don't even know if that's how you're supposed to say that, but if I pulled this off of a machine, even this is the only giveaway really, is these kind of olive green and thick washers, the crush washers for your banjo bowl. That comes on aftermarket stuff, but that could have been swapped out. If I got this on a quad, I would guess, I wouldn't even think twice. I would think that this is OEM. So it's like good and bad. Nice reproduction, but it's a fraudulent piece. And you can actually see next to this one bolt hole, this hole right here, that's whoever put the other aftermarket master cylinder on, it didn't match up to the OEM holes, so they actually drilled a hole in the frame. That was another reason why I wanted to make sure I got the right stuff. So this may be an aftermarket, but at least it's the correct aftermarket. And these aftermarket kits come with a ridiculously long hose. All of them do, I noticed, which is no problem. But a lot of people, they don't clip them. They just kind of like wind them up and stuff. So I'm gonna get this reservoir about where it needs to go and clip it so that it's the right size. These kits come with so much hose that even if you messed this up, you could redo it probably 2 or 3 times. See those holes line up nicely? Brake pedal is nice and even with our foot peg. Now I'm gonna tighten down the foot peg bolts. The foot peg bolts, right? Tighten down our foot peg bolts. These go to 40 foot-pounds. Now put the heel guard in place. All right, I'm gonna tighten all this stuff up, and And then I'll go around the other side, get the other foot peg and heel guard on, and we're about to put the exhaust and the intake and stuff on. That two-stroke exhaust kind of clogs everything up. So before I put that on there, I want to run the wire harness and do all of our cable routing and stuff like that. That can be kind of boring, so I'm going to go ahead and do that on my own, and then I will see you guys. We'll get that exhaust on. That's gonna look freaking sweet. Before I get started, routing cables can kind of be a hodgepodge, and if you don't know what you're doing, you might route a cable near your exhaust or something hot and it gets melted. So I'll show you guys, in the service manual, they actually have these diagrams and they show you exactly how to route the cables. So if you don't have a service manual, you can download these free. In fact, I might even find the link where I got this one. So I have, you know, the Climber service manual, but really the OEM service manuals they're typically a little bit nicer. See, it shows all the cable routing. All those little, it shows you what goes behind, what goes in front, the frame rails and stuff. It really, it's super helpful. So yeah, the Climber service manual is great if that's all that you have, but the OEM ones are just awesome. So that schematic is gonna be my best friend for the next couple hours. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Finally, we can put on our exhaust. I've been waiting for this moment. This is the same exhaust that we pulled off, the FMF that came with it. Cleaned up really nice. I was able to polish and buff this area down here that had some surface rust on it. Putting the pipe on a two-stroke really just completes the look. There's an exhaust hanger that goes up here. I got a brand new one from Yamaha. The old one was starting to crack, and then they usually tear, and they're useless. Now I'll put the silencer on. I've already gone ahead and put this pipe connector on. This thing looks freaking beautiful, man. This is refinished by Moto Blast. He vapor blasted it. I was like, man, can you vapor blast this pipe so that I don't have to clean it? And he's like, yes, I can do that. It came out freaking awesome. All of my exhaust components, I'm putting blue Loctite on them because this is going to be an area of vibration. Then this little coupling thing slides back over, and then we've got two clamps. All right, exhaust is installed. Well, this has kind of snuck up on me, but we're actually at the point where we can fill this thing with oil, put the tires on, and give this thing its first test fire. The manual calls for 700 milliliters after an engine overhaul. All right, that ought to do it. And we just take this paper funnel and could probably resell this. Right in the trash. Yeah. It actually is quite convenient. All right, let's get these wheels on here. These look freaking badass. Damn. Oh man. These seriously look so good. And I wanted to mention, these are a dual direction tread pattern. For hard pack, you face them this way, and for soft pack, you face them this way. And I figure we're gonna be probably in some muddy conditions and softer stuff, so that's why I set them up this way. There was another video where I installed these same tires. I think it was on the Predator. And people in the comments were like, oh, this guy's an idiot. You put on the tires backwards. It also would probably benefit us to put our fuel tank on for our first start. Just putting enough in here that we can get it fired. All right, here we go. Let's make sure kill switch is not on. Ignition on. Should be good. I guess we'll try it with no choke first. Sitting in this warm garage here. Give her a couple primes. It's got really good compression, wow. I'm doing this to get the oil moving around inside.
all over our gears and whatnot. All right, let's give her a shot. What the heck? That was weird. What the hell's the matter with this? Our kick return spring must have fallen out or some shit. Oh, what the f, dude? Are you serious? Oh, are you kidding me? I'm sure this is something dumb, but I want to start this tonight. This is freaking impossible. Always some dumb shit. That's all right. I'm gonna take this apart on my own. If there's got to be something like blatantly obvious in there that I missed, and I'll show you guys what it is, and then we'll get it back together, and it'll be take two. Just what the.
So without further ado, I drained the oil and pulled the side cover on the engine, and it turned out that the kick return spring was slightly bent, and also the hole that the kick return spring tang goes into was worn out. I straightened up the kick return spring and put a roll pin in the portion of the case that the tang goes into, and then it functioned flawlessly without falling out of its place.
What a colossal waste of time. But what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna get this thing back together, and then we're freaking starting this thing. All right, guys, it's the next day. We've got everything back together. All right, here we go. Yeah! Third kick. All right, I'm gonna kill it there. See, man, now I'm starting to get excited. It's been a long week of work, but it is totally worth it. It's getting to the point where it's just really, really exciting. It's such a cool quad, dude. The thing is so small. This is cool, man. I'm really glad that I can share this with you guys. Let's get the plastics on. All right, we'll start with the rears. This has the Airbox boot and Airbox built into it. Hopefully that doesn't make this a pain in the ass to put on. Ah, you bastard. It's got this like rubber hook thing that hooks onto a stay on the frame. Does not make this exactly easy. There we go. Bitch. Like a glove. That was so easy. All right, and then we've got our K&N style air filter, because we wouldn't want one of those real K&Ns. Okay. Got brand new Yamaha heel guards. These were kind of looking tired on the old one. They were getting cracked up and stuff. And I mean, they're plastic, so it's like, how much protection do they really offer? But I will say, I'm sure that they will make a nice little mud guard. And I mean, when everything's bolted up, they do offer some protection. We'll move up to our tank, get this new hood on. We've got a brand new OEM key. Something about the OEM keys, they're just really premium, especially the Yamaha ones. They're so much nicer than the aftermarkets. It's just so nice. The fender bolts that come in that spec bolt kit are really nice. They resemble the OEM, but instead of using the Phillips head design, which you guys know I hate, they are Allen heads. That is a lot nicer. Whew, man, freaking exhausting pushing this thing all over the place to get pictures of it. Let's get the graphics on. I feel like Marty McFly with the Tacoma in the garage on an angle. I always wondered why in that movie they parked the Tacoma on an angle in the garage, like to make it look cool. Probably an ad for Toyota at the time. Just the stupid things that I think about. The Blaster is covered in flat surfaces, so it's actually a really easy quad to put graphics on, at least I'm assuming so. Heat gun is gonna be your best friend. And then we're just gonna take our glass cleaner and put real thin coat. Since we have that water, the soap underneath, It makes it easy to pick it up and move around. And if you push hard enough, you can even slide it a little bit. We're gonna squeegee out the water. I just use my hands. You wanna spend your time here. Don't rush with this. Put these on the right way. Spend your time. Make sure all your edges are nice and flush. Then these will last a lot longer. They'll be more durable. See, this came out really nice. Everything's laying nice and flat, no bubbles or anything. Let me go ahead and finish these off. Man, it's sounding really good. I got it idling nicely. Looks crazy cool with the graphics, man. It's so cool to see the after and to look at my rendering from before. So it's like really, you know, what I had in my head and now actually seeing it in person. That is just, I just think that's so cool.
Blaster is done. The goal of today is to just rip around, you know, put it through the paces. I've got 3 heat cycles on it, about an hour worth of time. And I think today we can do a couple of clutch dumps and rip it a little bit. The idea is to make sure that everything is cool, the tie rods are adjusted properly. If we have to do any jetting, any little tweaking and stuff, this is kind of like a break-in ride. So this is a fun little sand pit. And we're gonna stay right by the truck so that if anything does happen, you can just push it right in there. You don't have to worry about it, you know, pushing it like miles home. This is a cool little track. Want to make sure this thing warms up. All right, we're warming up a little bit here. I don't expect it to be a beast or anything, but it pulls good, dude. I mean, it feels pretty damn good, dude. Man, that was a boatload of fun. Whew. I think that's gonna be it for today. Whew. Man, oh man, that was hella fun.
Well guys, I think we did a great job restoring this Yamaha Blaster. If you want to see a complete breakdown of all of the expenses that went into restoring this quad, I do have a video with that breakdown. But to sum things up, you can see there were about $5,800 of parts that went into it, and the machine itself was just over $1,000. Now this doesn't include any labor cost. It all totals up to $6,900 bucks. Nice. We did finish in time to make it to the competition series. It absolutely crushed it, and we had an absolute blast beating the crap out of these machines. If you'd like to see the full competition series, that will also be linked below, as well as all of the videos in this entire series if you want to see more details on this build. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider commenting on the video. Comments tell YouTube that the video is good content, and it helps me to reach a broader audience. In its entirety, there are hundreds of hours that I put into making this video, so if you could please leave the video a like if you enjoyed it, and also consider subscribing for more videos like this. So with that, I'm going to end the episode with the official trailer of Top Quad 3. That's the competition series that this Yamaha Blaster was featured in.
This year, 6 friends will get together, acquire their favorite childhood dream machines, and have a great time racing them in competitions. They'll call it Top Quad.
I just wanted more power. I could see it. I'm just pegged.
We can talk about these machines all day long. We got to get some seat time on them. 3, 2, 1, go.
Should I start it up that way this time?
No, because it won't recoil. Don't do that. Kind of view that as like a sketchy roller coaster. That's kind of fun. Just like, oh, we might die, but it's pretty cool.
Cool Ranch is going to be our Cinderella story. I think so.
Dude, this honestly might get first.
No meatballs, no meatballs, no meatballs.
God damn it! Oh! Each other! Robin's racing, baby!
Meatball!
For the next Top Quad series, we're gonna have a minimum price requirement for certain models. Like, we're gonna look at the 300X market and say, all right, good ones are 1,800 and up, not 1,000.
I know that I called the Cool Ranch the Cinderella story, but she can stay in the tower.
Lost the seat! I'm seatless! Oh! So that'll suck on your butt if you sit on it.
Rider to rider. What do you think after seeing that time?
I think those numbers are very different than numbers I had seen today.
Woo!
What an epic launch on that trail.
Hey there, YouTube, we're out here.
What's the weather look like out there, Ollie? It's windy!
It is a lovely day.
No, it's not.
It's not a lovely day.
Tires kind of do this. That's what the meatball does when you launch and the front end gets light. The tires are just going like this.
The whole front end is like a noodle.
You can forfeit if the first one goes very poorly.
I think the Trailblazer can reel some people in here.
See how bad I lose this time.
Oh, dude! I mean, it wasn't an absolute bloodbath. What was that, like 10 lengths?
Yeah!
He's gotta cool them balls off. He wishes he had meatballs.
All he got's little blueberries.
Oh my god, this four-wheeler is such a piece. I mean, that's why I wanted to ride it, because like, this thing is just like, it's like a crazy bitch. I don't know if I like her, but she definitely wakes me up a little bit, keeps me alive.
Let's get ready to hill climb.
Jacob Blazer, Jesse 300 EX. Jacob Blazer's a great name.
Sounds like a poor name.
Peter, he's our man, and he can't do it, no one can.
Dang it, that's fast.
Oh, man.
Peter's getting after it.
Grab second. You gotta use some body language on this thing, man. Wow.
Treat it like a bathroom, install it.
Well, the meatball's kind of a disaster, and I think it was very fitting for you to be piloting it.
They told me that you said I look slow.
I was just kind of being a dick.
Mic check, 1, 2.
We are here at the creek run. The first thing you have to do before you even hop on the machine is turn it around manually. You're not allowed to use reverse.
Once the riders have made their down and back, they have to stop in this box and head to the hype button.
First person to press the button wins.
Try to keep it above the water.
We are not losing. Oh no!
This is the hardest this machine's been ridden its whole life.
Oh God, dude!
He's sheared all the sprocket bolts off and ran the course on foot.
I will never forget my Meatball Creek run till I die.
Jesse ran me off the trail into deep water.
Winner, chicken dinner.